So we'll go to the next slide here. So some bottlenecks that we could talk about, and the data is clear, right? Speed is critical. Why aren't more companies not doing it? And really, those bottlenecks is what we see depending on what the company is. And a lot of the bottlenecks tend to be human-centric, right? Human-centric limitations, and which AI is perfectly positioned to solve. So we'll talk about the founder bottleneck to start. Classic startup problem, classic maybe B2C type of problem, sometimes B2B. An inbound lead comes in, the founder's just too busy to respond quickly. They're too busy with the customer or selling on a pitch or whatever that comes out to. Every minute that passes by, like we talked about 2 slides ago, that the founder's delaying, is a potential deal lost or less likely that they're actually going to close something. And that could maybe potential that they're just that could signal maybe that they're not ready to scale. We see that from time to time. There could be an apprehension to maybe invest that's not there yet, or maybe just the revenue just isn't there yet to invest. But that would be something to look at in terms of a bottleneck if you're a single founder. So you decide to invest the money. You have an SDR team. Sometimes the bottleneck shifts to the SDR team, right? You try to solve the problem by hiring more SDRs, but this becomes a scale and cost issue, right? People are not, they're not cheap. You can't hire an SDR for every single time zone, cover leads that come in at 2 a.m. Then there's the issue of nurturing. SDR and salespeople, they're naturally focused on the hottest and newest leads, right? They're not going to necessarily, I speak with people all the time. Get Frank.
But I'm just thinking of some industries, or like depending on your average deal size, you can't even afford SDRs. Like I think in the first place, there's also that thing, right? So, and I think the other problem is like, I don't know whether you're B2C or doesn't matter B2B, but you have people buying from different parts of the world, right?
Yep.
Like US, Australia, Europe, right? So that is not a thing. Like, so are you going to have 2 shifts, or what? Like, how does that look like, right? So it becomes, suddenly you need to have, people working around the clock. Like, I had the same case. And so, yeah, global business in particular, I think they're the ones that, end up hiring more and more individuals, because, yeah, if you don't staff the inbound front, people, whenever your customers are active, then you're not actually losing. But like, to keep on increasing humans, for different time zones, and the cost racks up quite quickly. So that's exactly what we had back in the days.
Yeah, and Frank, it's more common than you think. I mean, I speak with so many folks on a weekly basis that have essentially no coverage, for like 12, 13 hours a day, and some of them are even international. So it's it's kind of almost like they think of it as a necessary evil type of thing, where it's too expensive to cover parts of the world, to cover some time zones.
Yeah.
Or even like we talked about before, the impulsive buyer. Maybe you happen to be scrolling on your phone at 11:30 p.m. Why can't I get a response then? Why would I have to wait till the next morning when I forgot what I was even doing the night before?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So really, all the bottlenecks just lead to one problem. The top of funnel conversion becomes less efficient as volume grows. So the more leads you get, as a rule, if you're not adding in more enablement, the worse your response time would theoretically get. So it's a vicious cycle, right? So like more leads actually hurt your ability to convert them, which is wild to think about. You invest so much in marketing, you invest in people, and the more you have, if you don't have the right tools, you can't convert them. And the cost is staggering. It's a direct hit to everything. It's your marketing dollars become more inefficient. Your salespeople miss targets. I mean, you're talking about, it's almost like too much of a good thing is not a good thing, almost, right? You all these leads and you can't and you can't hit them. So, but we're not blaming people, right? I'm not saying, you stink, you're not closing deals. It's just the system's flawed. There's things that could be better. The solution is to work harder. It's to work smarter. Think of it, this might be a reach, but it's almost like the AI, revolution is like maybe 100 years ago, when people used to use horses to carry things for hundreds of miles, but then cars came up and trains came up. So it's not a horse problem. It's the horse is doing all they can, but there's just better technology that could do things more efficiently. And really the solution, like horses 100 years ago, or maybe even now 150 years ago, whatever it is. It's not to remove them, but to help augment and work smarter, not harder, like I mentioned. So those AI powered systems can help provide that instant, intelligent engagement every single time, which we'll talk a little bit more about on the next slide.